Welcome to the session. Now we are going to see about the types of transducers. I am P. Sindil Kumar, Assistant Professor, Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering, Erode Sengundar Engineering College, Perundurai. Types of transducer. The transducer changes the physical quantity into an electric signal. It is an electronic device which has two main functions, that is, sensing and transduction. It senses the physical quantity and then converts into mechanical works or electrical signal. The main function is the one form of energy is converted into another form, mainly in electrical form. Most of the sensors it won't produce an electrical signal, but for in recent applications we need an electrical signal as an output from the sensing device. So the transduction or transducer will convert that signals from the sensor into an electric signal. The transducer is of many types and they can be classified by the following criteria. First criteria, by transduction used. Second one, as a primary and secondary transducer. Third one, as a passive and active transducer. Fourth one, an analog and digital transducer. And fifth one, the transducer and inverse transducer. These are all the different types of transducers. The transducer receives the measurement and gives a proportional amount of output signal. The output signal is sent to the conditioning device where the signal is attenuated, filtered, and modulated. The input quantity is the non-electrical quantity and the output electric signal is in the form of current, voltage, or frequency. So this gives the uh, types of transducers tree diagram. So first is on the basis of transduction, and second one is primary and secondary transducer. The third one is active and passive transducer. The fourth one is analog and digital transducer, and fifth one is transducer and inverse transducer. On the basis of transduction, it is further classified into resistive, inductive, and capacitive. So further, the resistance change, inductance change, or capacitance change may be converted into electrical quantity like current or voltage by suitable circuits. Primary and secondary transducer. Primary transducer. The transducer consists of mechanical as well as electrical devices. The mechanical devices of the transducers change the physical input quantities into a mechanical signal. This mechanical device is known as the primary transducer. Next one, secondary transducer. The secondary transducer converts the mechanical signal into electrical signal. The magnitude of the output signal depends on the input mechanical signal. So, from that we can know the primary transducer's output is given to secondary transducer as an input. For example, the mechanical displacement may be converted into electrical signal. The output of a primary transducer is a mechanical signal and the secondary transducer is electrical signal. Example of primary and secondary transducer. So for this we can take board on tube and LVDT, linear variable differential transducer. The board and tube act as a primary transducer. It detects the pressure and convert it into a displacement from its free end. The displacement of free end moves the core of the linear variable displacement transformer. The movement of core induces the output voltage which is directly proportional to the displacement of the tube free end. This is the board on tube pressure gauge with LVDT. So the left side we are having the LVDT and the right side we are having the board and tube. The input is given to the board and tube and the C-shaped tube is expands. The free end expands. It pulls the LVDT core. So the core will alter the flux so we can get the electrical output in the secondary side of LVDT. Thus, the two types of transactions occurs in the board and tube. First, the pressure is converted into displacement and then is converted into voltage by the help of LVDT. The board and tube is the primary transducer and the LVDT is called the secondary transducer. Next classification is passive and active transducer. Passive transducer. The transducer which requires the power from the external supply source is known as passive transducer. They are also known as the external power transducer. The capacitive, resistive, and inductive transducers are example of passive transducers. We already know about the passive elements of a circuit, that is resistor, inductor, and capacitor are the passive element. The same way, the resistive, capacitive, and inductive transducer are also a passive transducers because it requires an external supply for its operation. The another examples are LDR, light depending resistor, thermistor, LVDT, potentiometer, rheostat, strain gauge are the examples of passive transducers. Active transducer. The transducer which does not require the external power source is known as active transducer. Such type of transducer develops their own voltage or current, hence known as a self-generating transducer. The output signal is obtained from the physical input quantity. The examples are piezoelectric crystal, photovoltaic cell, deco generator, thermocouples, photovoltaic cell are the examples of active transducers. So here we are having a diagram. This is an accelerometer, piezoelectric accelerometer. We all know about the working of piezoelectric crystal. When we are applying a force, it directly gives electrical output. When the electrical input is given to the crystal, then it vibrates. Here, the piezoelectric crystal is used for the measurement of acceleration. It doesn't require any external power supply. It depends upon the acceleration, it will generate an electrical quantity. So, it is an active transducer. Next category is analog and digital transducer. The transducer can also be classified by their output signals. The output signal of the transducer may be continuous or discrete. First one is analog transducer. The analog transducer changes the input quantity into a continuous function. The strain gauge, LVDT, thermocouple, thermistor are the examples of analog transducer. Digital transducer. These transducers converts an input quantity into digital signal or in the form of pulse. The digital signals work on high or low power. Transducers and inverse transducers. Transducer, the device which converts the non-electrical quantity into an electrical quantity is known as the transducer. Then inverse transducer. The transducer which converts the electrical quantity into physical quantity. Such type of transducer is known as the inverse transducer. The transducers have high electrical input and low non-electrical output. So the inverse transducers are, um, for example, we can take piezoelectric crystal. Either if the electrical signal is given as an input to the crystal means it will vibrate. Then as well as thermocouple also act as an inverse transducer. We all know about the working principle of thermocouple. It works on the principle of Seebeck effect when it is used as a temperature sensor and the output is electrical signal. Suppose when the electrical signal is given to the thermocouple, what happens? It will generate a temperature difference in the cold junction and hot junction. So it is act as an inverse transducer. Thank you.